Okay, Jay, we got DE here. Go ahead, DE.
Hey, I was just wondering, do you think that God can do whatever he wants to do?
No, I mean, if you, that's going to be again determined by our system. So what God can do is determined by what the system determines God can do, and what determines what God can do is his own nature. So no, God cannot do literally anything. So like, could God make himself not exist or something like that? No.
Well, I just asked if he could do anything he wants. Well, that changes the question then. Can God want to not exist and then be unable to do it?
No, his willing is always in accord with his nature, so he can never will something against his nature.
So it sounds like the answer has changed then to God can do whatever he wants, right?
No, again, that was what I was intending to critique at the beginning, was that you're importing a definition of what it means to do anything that's not possible in our system. So if God is the ultimate reference point and the ultimate authority in our system, then his nature is going to determine what he does and doesn't do. So he's good by nature, so he doesn't do bad things, and he can't will the evil. He can't will to not exist because he's existence itself.
Right, but all of those things fall under what God wants, right? So I'm asking.
Well, no, God wants in accord with his nature. So no, he doesn't. There's no necessary connection between he can only will the good. I'll put it that way. So he can't will the evil. So no, he can't will to not exist because that would be against his nature.
Right. So that's a case of God not being able to do something that he doesn't want to do, right?
Yeah, but what he wants to do is determined by his nature. So he can only will in accord with his nature, just like a human being can only will in accord with his nature. For example, I might will to bilocate, but it's not within my nature to do that. So I can't do it.
I don't know. Right. Well, all I'm asking is, you're different from God in that respect, right?
That's why I said
you can want to do things that you can't do. But I'm asking if you already told me God can't want to do things that he can't do, right?
Correct. Not outside of his nature. So I'm saying that the nature, what the point of the analogy was to show that natures limit what the beings can and can't do, and God's nature limits what he can and can't do.
Right. But it also limits what he can and can't want, right?
Correct.
And so for everything that God wants, that's something that God can do. Is that correct?
I'm sorry. So that my wife was saying something. Could you say that again?
Yeah. So for everything that God wants, that's something that God can do.
Correct. Yeah, they're in harmony. Yeah. Right.
So that's when you say yes to that. That's what I mean when I'm saying God can do anything that he wants to do. So the answer to that question is yes.
As long as it's understood to be in with what's in accord with his nature, and so it's not in accord with his nature to want to not exist because he is existence itself.
Well, I don't know. Well, I don't understand that claim. But
the very first thing I said to you was that the system is going to determine what it means to be all powerful or all, whatever, any of the omnis. So you're just taking an extra systemic definition of what it must be and saying God doesn't do that. And I'm just trying to tell you that that's what you're doing. That's the art. That's what I said at the beginning.
I don't know what you're talking about. I said there was something in there.
Come on, dude. Seriously, are you that slow? Like I literally just told you at the beginning, like what the system determines what the attributes mean. Do you understand that?
I don't know what it means.
Okay, exactly. So what it means for God to desire and to want and to the omnis, the attributes, is going to be determined by our system. So you can't bring an extra systemic definition of those words and say, can't God do that? And if he can't, then he's not God. That's what you're doing.
No, I wasn't actually.
No, that is what you're doing. That's what you're doing. It's a low tier classic atheist argument.
Well, I wasn't actually making an argument. I was asking a question.
Yeah, sure. Right. Here we go. They're not making arguments. It's just questions. And then it's a gotcha. Yeah.
And in fact, the first thing I tried to do was to get you to concede, which you did in fact concede.
Let's move on.
That God can do anything.